yeah, we gonna get on our SYSBMing today because there's a trend that's bubbling underneath the surface. You know, a lot of women from outside of the community for mates, long-term mates, not just hopping around in and out of relationships as a sport, of which a lot of black women have come accustomed to, as if it's, something to be done. How much has media played a big role in dividing so-called black love? You can attribute some of it to media, even though Becky started it because she was upset with her man, but she will never fully betray her man. Not fully, but we've seen in our neighborhoods, we've seen in relationships that we've been as black men, how far the American B-dub will go to usurp your power, trip you up, walk over, you meet her for the first time, you go on a date, and she wants to tell you about how many degrees she has and this and that. Like, holy shit, lady. When are y'all gonna learn that we do not care about your degrees? You got it from Harvard, Princeton, Yale, HBCU. We don't fucking care about your degree, especially if we can't find peace with you. And when black women hear us talk about we be trying to find peace, they look at it as, oh, you're looking for a slave. You want to get away with a whole bunch of crap and don't want me to say anything. No, us going out to battle the world to get that bag creates enough stress, strain, and strife on us mentally and physically. We don't need or want to come home to continue the battle. We should be able to take off our armor when we get home. That's what we mean by peace. But a lot of you just don't get it. And at this point, I've realized you don't want to get it. You don't care to get it. Because when I read some of your comments in various social media threads and platforms, it's very blatantly clear you don't understand men in general, let alone the black man. You don't understand us and you don't care to. So this is what has been bubbling over the decades, and the numbers have increased for a reason. Black men are tired, just tired of being combative, being in a combative relationship, back and forth, the unnecessary nagging over shit that just does not matter. And this is why SYSBM is so strong of a movement. This is why Passport Bros is so strong of a movement, because we are done. Winter is here and you don't have a shovel big enough. Let's read some of these various articles on the internet about the percentages of interracial relationships spearheaded by black men. Believe you not. In 1967, when what is that? I need my glasses. I can't even see that. Where my glasses? Laws were overturned. I don't even think that's segregation laws. It's probably see, I got that anger ADD going on right now. Whatever. The laws were overturned in the United States. 3% of all newlyweds were married to someone of a different race or ethnicity. Since then, intermarriage, why wouldn't they just say interracial marriage? Intermarriage, that's a weird term. Anyway, intermarriage have steadily climbed. By 1980, the share of intermarried, about 230,000 newlyweds had done so. The long-term annual growth in newlyweds marrying someone of a different race or ethnicity, has led to dramatic increases in the overall number of people who are presently intermarried, including both those who recently married and those who did so years or even decades earlier. In 2015, that number stood at 11 million, 10% of all married people. The share has tripled since 1980, when 3% of married people, about 3 million altogether, had a spouse of a different race or ethnicity. You see how gradually it has increased over time. And ironically, I'm I'm including black women too. They are choosing to date out when they can. They don't have those opportunities as much as black men do. And when they do get in those relationships, they don't act like how they act when they're with a black man. That just means that black man was not her first choice to begin with. It's like she has always had this underlining urge to date Mr. White Man. She views him as the pedestal of which she has always tried to figure out a way how to climb that pedestal, how to reach that prize of the white man. And those that can't, they get in relationships with black men and they treat that dude like shit because they really want that white man, the crown on the pedestal. This is how the American B-dub views the white man. And he doesn't even have to look like, intermarriage varies by race and ethnicity. Overall, increases in intermarriage. I don't know why they call it that. I've never heard that term before. Interracial marriage. Yes. Intermarriage, that's just a weird term to me, but whatever. Fueled in part by rising intermarriage rates among black newlyweds and among white newlyweds. The share of recently married blacks with a spouse of a different race or ethnicity has more than tripled from 5% in 1980 to 18% in 2015. Among recently married, whites rates have more than doubled from 4% up to 11%. Notice the pattern. I'm going to leave a link to this article in the description box down below. The pattern is being pushed and sparked by black men who have finally grown tired of the American B-dubs BS. And the excuse is always, well, you can't handle, a strong and independent black woman. That's your problem. You're too weak, which just creates another issue, another problem. Why do we have to lift weights when we come home? You're too weak. So you're looking for somebody to be combative with. That's not a good sign of someone that wants a peaceful, blissful existence. So the man gotta battle the world and then battle you when he comes home. That's just gonna take 10, 15, 20 additional that man's life. And you wonder why a lot of black men end up passing away earlier in their years because of coming home and dealing with unnecessary stress and combativeness from a woman that don't want to be agreeable, wants to just be adversarial to you every chance. She wants to compare herself, her accomplishments to yours, to you. You're not a mate when dealing with the ABW. No, you're competition. And this is what creates additional stress that ends up killing black men a lot earlier than they would have naturally reached their mortality if they had a woman that was more agreeable and submissive. And submissive is not slavery. It's trying to establish harmony in a relationship, in a marriage. And black men have finally gotten to the point where it's like, well, you know what? I can't reach that with this woman, with my woman. So I'm going to give these other races of women a chance. And come to find out that the yin and the yang works pretty just like the symbol, the Chinese symbol, the yin yang symbol that has the black side and the white side, 360 degrees of unity. It just, and I'm not saying all white women are just, just precious creatures walking the earth and they can do and say anything wrong. No, they got their share of BS too. But when it comes to racial relationships with black men and marriages, and when I say that, I'm using this in totality because I'm actually including Asian women and Latino women too. It just seems to work better with black men, and a lot of black men have realized this. And it's like, you know what? I've had it wrong this whole time. This woman seems to be undercutting me sneakily at every turn, whether directly or indirectly. Like walking down the street and your shoelaces are always coming untied, and then one of the laces on your left foot, just so you can ironically trip. Then you look up, how did that happen? The black woman you walking next to, I don't know, I guess they tied themselves together, knowing damn well she was the one doing it while you wasn't looking. And that used to be the problem with black men. We always looked outwardly, like, the problem with my relationship with this woman, it has to be something else. It can't be something she's doing or not doing. Let me find the problem. Is it over here? Is it over there? Meanwhile, she's tying your laces together and pushing you down. I thought I understood white privilege. Then I married a black man. Let's read the dynamics from a white woman's point of view. Beautiful family, sir. SYSBM. Good on you. For the first 37 years of my life, I considered myself largely exempt from the blind spots of white privilege. Intellectually, I knew the definition of the phrase. White privilege is the inherent advantages that come with being white, but I assumed I knew better than to let those advantages hinder my progressive way of life. I had worked in New York City media for years, leaving a big job in magazines to become director of creative engagement for Hillary Clinton's 2016 presidential campaign. Yeah, this might be a problem for him sooner or later, unless he's, a liberal too. We know liberals are usually, they say one thing and do another. And this is the flip side of this, because liberals are very intolerant, even though they try to pretend that they're very tolerant, until you make them mad, and then you find out exactly how intolerant they are. But even with a liberal woman, see, I don't know what his leanings are. And if she's like an overboard, just staunch feminist woman hater, this relationship won't work in the long run either. But even with that craziness, it has a better chance than if he was with a sister who's a staunch liberal Democrat. They never would have made it to getting married. Well, she said, I helped to organize the Women's March. I started my social impact agency, Invisible Hand, to assist companies like Instagram and organizations like Planned Parenthood as they put good work into the world. Oh yeah, you might have to throw this one away. I was your favorite progressive's favorite progressive. Then I met Jordan. He was so handsome, I thought I might die. He was sharp and charismatic, and when he smiled, it looked like he was lit from within. You see, some of the first things that she noticed about him, she didn't lean back and say, is he 6 feet? Does he have a six-pack? Is he driving a Lambo? Does he make six figures? Let me ask him first before I determine if I'm attracted to him or not. No. First thing she noticed was his personality. Very interesting. The American B-Dub, the sisterhood of shame, they would never even try to pay attention to those characteristics in a man. No. What are you, But this woman is like, oh, he was so charismatic. I cringe to say that I loved him immediately, but here's the thing. I pretty much did. We did not take it slow. In fact, we shoehorned a decade's worth of life into our first 24 months together. We moved in together, started companies, got pregnant, miscarried. Oh, that's unfortunate. Renovated an apartment and got pregnant again to spend the last trimester of the pregnancy living apart while I pursued a fellowship in a different city. In the beginning, when we fought, which we did, kind of a lot, I chalked it up to the stress of cramming all of that life into such a short span of time. But before long, I started to realize something bigger was at play. He is a black man raised in the South. I am a white woman raised in Alaska. My whiteness and my white privilege really got in the way. Of course, I knew that Jordan and I would have cultural differences. On our first date, he asked me if he was the first black man I'd dated. He was not, and told me that his relationships had spanned the map too. We discussed how we thought our families would react and the role our upbringings had played in our identities. I kind of thought we had it covered. We did not. Almost immediately, I began to understand my white privilege and unconscious bias and knew upsetting ways. One thing you notice in her account of her relationship with the brother, and nowadays the sisterhood they are staunchly against it, but actually self-reflecting. Now she's self-reflecting from her point of, being a white woman, her upbringings, and the reason why certain things and situations might have triggered her and caused arguments and stuff like that. She's self-reflecting. Sisters don't do that anymore. If something is wrong in a relationship or the marriage, it's automatically the brother's fault. You are the problem. You are the issue. She's doing absolutely nothing wrong, but you are doing absolutely everything wrong, including breathing. It gets that bad nowadays. I don't know what has turned the ABW's brain into applesauce, but it's definitely at that point right now. Like, everybody has things they need to work on. And brothers, we often self-analyze ourselves. Things go wrong, things don't go as planned. We lean back, we look at ourselves, we hold ourselves accountable naturally. It's just a natural thing. Like, okay, what do I need to do to make this situation better? We always do that. It's ingrained in us. We naturally do that. Not black women. They don't do that. They don't believe in that. Like, it ain't never my fault. It's your fault, nigga. And it's like, and that's basically what the culture has turned into. This is why SYSBM is so important. It's like, you know what? How long are you going to bang your head on that brick wall before you realize this might be the reason I have a migraine? Let me stop doing that. Where was I at? I know I get triggered sometimes and I go off on these tangents, but somebody's got to. You know what I'm saying? Last winter, Jordan and I were driving on a highway in New York, headed upstate to look at real estate. When I casually mentioned that our license plates were about to expire, he got so angry with me that I worried he would crash the car. Do you realize that if a cop pulls us over for expired tags, I could be killed, he said. See, that's probably why he was attracted to this ultra-liberal woman. It sounds like, he has a victim mentality ingrained into him. Like every time I see a police officer, they're gonna handcuff me and beat me to death. And that comes from the media, this thought process. And it's a double-edged sword because you can see the truth in it as far as, I'm remembering since watching this video footage for the 100th time because it's all over the news all the time of this black man getting beat up by the police. Shit, as soon as I step outside and see a police officer, he's just going to turn around and jump out his car and just start beating me and handcuffing me and beating me some more. And this is the kind of nonsense, the brainwashing that has seeped into the dating market also. Got these black women, they can't wait to stab brothers in the back and just walk all over the brother just so they can reach that crown. The crown of the white man. This is why I support SYSBM. Save yourself, brothers. And if you probably shouldn't date a liberal one because a lot of them can be just as racist as the old school Jim Crow white man. And the 2025 American black woman, they work hand in hand to undermine you, to usurp any power that you may or may not obtain. They are here to destroy you. This is why SYSBM is so important. Get yourself out of this situation. You probably need to find a conservative white woman, somebody that you click with. Go where you're appreciated, who wants to be with you. Don't try to jam yourself into situations. You're force feeding yourself. That woman's not going to like you. She's not going to love you. She's going to secretly hate you and secretly do things indirectly to usurp any power you have, to destroy and stop any progress you make, to better yourself personally, not realizing that, the better you are, she's going to benefit too. But a lot of black women today don't understand that, don't realize. They just try to keep you from becoming your best self by getting in the way as much as they can and then blaming you for not reaching any goals that you set out for yourself. Back to what I was saying earlier, it's always your fault when you're with the black woman, brothers. But see, the white woman is not the end-all, be-all. Hey, try an Asian woman, Filipino, Thai, Chinese, Japanese. Try a Latino woman, Brazilian, Dominican, whatever. and you'll notice the difference is as wide as the Grand Canyon. Anyway, I'm done rambling. Yes, I get triggered on these subjects and topics sometimes, and I get the rambling and rambling, but you get the point. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Subscribe. Hit the like button and get your boy. And that being said, this is Gen X Media 7, and this transmission is over.